In today's episode of our Thriving in Construction, the podcast, our guest is none other than Aishwarya Pathak, project engineer at Lunacon Construction Group. Aishwarya has a solid 7 years of experience at design-build firms. Her role includes contract preparation, specifications, schedules, estimates, and working drawings and design for superior commercial, public, and residential buildings. Well, I guess it's time to hear from her side of the story. So let us all welcome project engineer Aishwarya Pathak. Hi, welcome to Thriving in Construction, the podcast. And here we have our guest, Aishwarya Pathak. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Aishwarya Pathak. I'm from India and now I'm working as a project engineer with Lunacon since last 1.5 years.
Wow.
And I love it.
Good. Can you tell us what got you into construction? I know a little bit about you, actually. And I know you're very smart, very bright. I know how committed you are to your work, with the grace that you do it. What got you into this industry?
So I have a background of architecture. I practiced as an architect for 6 years, and then I came to United States. I did my construction management and I joined Lunacon as a project engineer. And this is my first job in USA. And now, initially I worked in the design aspect of construction. And now I'm mostly interested into the management and how it is executed. It really fascinates me how one's idea in someone's mind is actually executed, and I can see the structure built up. That's really fascinating, and that actually inspired me to be in this field.
Awesome. So I am an engineer, and then I did construction management. So you are an architect, and now you did construction management and started working in construction. I'm curious, as an architect, now that you have been practicing construction management, how do you see the architectural world? In other words, you have experienced how the challenges around managing a project, right? How do you see the difference between just being an architect, not being involved in the construction, and now you're not the architect, you didn't do this design, and you are managing the construction project for somebody else's design? How do you see both worlds now?
So initially when I started with construction, and when I used to see the drawings from different architects, then I could recognize that we used to make a lot of mistakes that used to create a lot of problems for the structural engineers.
You mean the architects?
Yes.
Okay.
So initially for the architects, we used to make some design mistakes, complicated design, and the structural engineer or the mechanical plumber, they had a lot of difficulties in actually executing in that way. And as a project engineer or as a management part, that is our work to resolve the conflict between both of them, the construction, architect, and the MEPs. So that is interesting.
What do you think is more challenging, being an architect or being the construction manager? Where do you see the challenges in both? What do you think is more challenging?
Both are challenging in their aspect. In designing, we need to look into the codes. All the standards are different in each city. Each state has a different code. Whereas in management, we don't consider that. But it is very essential that we should look into the ADA standards, all the codes and standards, while not even designing, in executing. It's necessary that I should have a knowledge about what the architect is thinking. And for me, that is the plus point. I can read drawings, I understand what the codes are, and that is helping me in this industry.
So that's awesome. You have very clear understanding, what the difference between an architect, an engineer, mechanical, a structural engineer. You have the understanding of construction management, and you really value all roles. They're all important.
I mean, both.
Yes, they're all important. So when you're in India, remember 3 years ago you were there and you are working over there. What's the difference between working a construction project as a woman in India and working here as a woman? What's the difference?
In India, we actually don't have anything particular for construction management or project management. There are a lot of architects, there are a lot of civil engineers who are women, but there are no construction management, not even men. So that's a new industry in India. But here, I think it's growing. I mean, there were less women, but since a decade, it's changing.
Who manages the projects? The architects, the engineers?
So we have architects, there are builders or developers, and we have the the site supervisors. So they manage the project and the architect helps.
And when you work in India, you were working for the developer?
I used to work for a project management consultancy and an architect. So I was a project manager and an project architect.
Okay. So this is the question. How is a woman seen in India in construction? So you're in a construction field. What's the difference that you see? Is there any difference from how a woman is treated in construction in India and here? Is there a difference?
I mean, it's quite similar because in India, it's really not safe at some time. In some of the cities, it's so unsafe to even travel in the afternoon. And working in construction, we have laborers coming from they're very poor, they're very low background, different culture. It's really difficult. And coming from like a family background, good family background, our parents, they are very skeptical about sending women in such field. But right. My family, they supported me.
They supported you?
They supported
That's
me.
Awesome. And so you're saying that it's because you're going to rural areas sometimes to do these projects, it could be unsafe for a woman more than a man, right?
Right. And not even in rural areas. There are towns, when it get dark, it's really unsafe.
Really? And in here?
In here, I found that in some places it's scary, but it's not like, we can survive.
In here, you can survive? In the US?
Yeah, just the one challenge that I face is I don't understand Spanish at all. And there are laborers who speak only Spanish. So it's very difficult for me to talk to them and communicate. That's one challenge I have. Even with the subcontractors, when I talk to them, sometimes it becomes so difficult to try to convince them, but somehow we manage it.
So you're in Miami, and this is why for those of you that are listening, Miami, there's a huge population of people that speak Spanish, and incredibly, but they don't speak English. So that's kind of difficult to understand, but it happens, and you're right about that. And in this industry, though, it's very prominent.
Yes, especially in Florida because we have Spanish population dominant.
So, are you passionate about construction?
I am, very much.
And tell me how.
So now I see myself as a project manager in coming years. Right now I would say I'm a newbie in construction, just the construction execution part. And I have learned a lot in the last year, and I think I would be ready soon to be project manager.
So you've learned a lot. Tell me what's the biggest aha moment that you've had. What's the biggest distinction that you can express, that you can tell us about you in your learning process? What have you learned that you can say, you know what, it's going to make a difference for my future?
So I learned a lot about how to manage things, how to schedule a particular thing and have a thing done in budget and within time, and that's profit. And that's what we are working for.
To make money?
To make money and enjoy life later.
Has the construction industry been a good advocate for you to make money, and as a person, as an individual, as a professional? Is the construction industry a place where a woman or a man can make money and have a good life?
Yes, I do believe it's possible, and at very young age we can start doing this. In India, we did not have a culture of of working from age of 16 or something. So when I graduated at the age of 22, I started working. If I would have been here, maybe I would have started early and I would have got more in-field knowledge about different trades that sometimes I feel that I'm not lacking.
The field experience.
Not just the not just field experience, but about the experience about different trades. I think my weakest trade would be mechanical. I don't understand how the HVAC system works.
No. So let me ask you something. If there are women out there, how old are you?
I am 30.
Oh my gosh, you look like you're 25.
Thank you.
If there are women out there that they're trying to decide, what am I going to study? They're in high school and they're trying to decide, do you recommend construction for a woman as a space for them to develop? Would you recommend that?
Yeah, I would recommend them. Even if they are not interested in completely in the construction, they don't study construction. Even if they come from finance background or any other background, they can be a part of construction industry. There is this opportunity for everything in construction.
Why is that? Tell me more.
So what I feel is if one comes from, let's say, finance background, accounts and finance is accounting, yeah. It's one of the most important feature that is required in construction industry. That will hold the finance of the project together and that will identify if the project is going to be successful, is it going to be a loss for the company or the project. So the final aim is that the project becomes successful and we make money and in time and we get more projects like that.
What other areas do you think, a lot of times within construction, most people don't know that there's a career called construction management. A lot of people don't know. And when people hear the word construction, they ask you, let's say you tell someone, I'm in construction, they think you're laying blocks or you're, with the
laborers.
You're a laborer. That people have a tendency to think that construction means that you are in the field just, with your hands doing the handwork, right? Has that happened to you?
That has happened to me. Even my friends, which are not from construction, they are from IT. IT people. So when I tell them I'm from construction industry, they're like, oh my God, so you do go on sites and build buildings. That's it. That's what you do. And in architecture, they used to say that you only do drawings. That's all you do. But that's not the thing. We have to look into the details, the nitty-gritties of how the design should be done. And in construction, we need to look how it should be executed. They don't think of that. They don't even know about it.
So what other areas of expertise? You talked about finance and you talked about accounting, and I believe that's right on.
Yeah.
What other areas?
Pre-construction, the estimation part. So before we get the project, we should have a detailed outline of what the project is going to be and how big the project will be. So that is one of the most important part of the construction. And then comes the operations. So before we get into operations, if we don't have a good pre-construction, we won't get the project.
That's true. So if you are now, let's say 6 years ago, or 7 years ago, you're going to the university, what would you have done differently?
I mean, I would have started working along with studying. That I did not do. I mean, I started after my graduation. So if I would have gotten hands-on experience in architecture at that time. So along with architecture, when I see things are happening on the field, I learn more. So that I would have changed in my career.
And what do you think are the biggest challenges a woman encounters in construction?
They are not listened by men or anyone. Sometimes they don't just ignore us. So I think we need to voice our opinion more loudly and more clearly. Women are more focused, they are more planned. I'm not discriminating, but they are planned. And men, they are volatile. Because they are volatile. I think that's the word.
Is that your experience with every man that you have worked with in construction?
Not every man, but I just in general, in some people that I have worked with, they are like that.
So your husband, I know your husband is in construction. Is he volatile?
He's calm, but he's volatile. He's very calm. I'm more organized than him, I would say.
But we need. It comes. It's a little bit. It's about personality, and we need all the parts of the body.
Mm-hmm.
We need the hands, the fingers. We need all the parts. There's no discrimination as to one or the other.
We cannot compare both of them. They both have different perspectives that should be respected for men and women.
Right. Being organized, it depends on the personality. Some women are very organized. Some others are not very organized. Now, women sometimes we have kids, we have husbands, we do many, many different things. And I think maybe because of that, we develop some...
We have some restrictions, a little bit.
Which are the restrictions?
So if I have kids, like immediately I don't think so I'm going to go on site the next day and start working. That can happen with my husband. He can go and work. He won't. But that's one, kids are one obstacle for some phase. Then if we have, in our culture, we have parents at home, so we need to take care of them. I think that's the hurdle. Rest, no.
So what's going to happen when Ash has kids? And Ash wants to be a project manager, and she got her job, and she has her dream job, and all of a sudden she got pregnant. What's going to happen?
I'm going to work till the end I deliver the baby. And after I deliver my baby, and maybe for a month I would take a break, but still be connected with the construction. I mean the project.
Is it possible to raise kids, attend to your house, cook for your family and take care of your husband, give him kisses and all that?
It's possible.
and also do the same, in your job. Is that possible?
It's possible. We do that now. I mean, I cook every day. I take care of my husband. He takes care of me. But then when I come to my job, I'm into it. And so my work life and professional life is different. Personal life is different.
But
it is connected because if I'm frustrated at work, sometimes I'm mad at him. That happens, but we try to stay calm or just ignore it.
So you hit a good point. A lot of people say that the personal life and the business life, they need to be disconnected. Mm-hmm. And I think there's not a biggest lie. You are you in everywhere you go. You take yourself and who you are. And if you want to try to leave stuff that's happening at work, but there's got to be
and the back of mind, it is there.
It is there. And I think it comes with commitment to being the best that you can, operating it from a beautiful space of love. And not take those charges with you. Mm-hmm. But that sometimes that's easier said than done. You have to develop some rituals in order to do that, right? So how does it affect you? Does your work life, the stress that you overcome at work or the stress that you are exposed to, because we're going to talk a little bit about the stress in construction, does that affect your personal life when you're at home with your husband?
Sometimes it does. Like not literally affecting, but I mean, I get sad, I don't talk to anyone, I just try to ignore the fact. But that's affecting the life.
Of course.
But most of the time we try to ignore it because he's from construction, I'm from construction, so we both sometimes are so stressful that we need to ignore the fact and just don't talk about the work and go for a walk, go for a ride. And we do that a lot.
That's good. That's a good practice.
Because we both are in construction and we have to deal with the stress.
So it's beautiful because those of you that don't know Ash, I know her. She's the most quiet and she looks like she has everything under control. There's nothing bad going on and she's always with a smile. And sometimes we see people that are so cool, calm, and collected, and we think they have no feelings.
Oh my God.
But that's not true.
I get that.
Right? People think that you don't
Sometimes, yeah, even my husband, before we started dating, he used to think, oh my God, she's like a stone or a closed book. And then if I open up, then I start talking and then I don't stop.
Then he doesn't want to hear you talk.
Now he doesn't want to hear me.
That's good. And now, how can you do that? How does that help you or not help you in construction? So when you have a challenge in a project, and you know there's a situation where maybe the client is asking for something that is, or accusing the GC of something that is not true, or asking for something that is not fair, or making you do something that is not, how do you speak out? Do you say something, or do you just stay quiet?
No, then I speak out. Before speaking up, I need to create a backup that I have a proof that you're talking wrong or it is not correct. This should be done in a particular way. If I have a backup, then I speak up. If they are correct, then no, then we are wrong.
So you're saying that if you look at the facts and then you speak up.
Yes.
And if not, you just accept it.
Yeah, we should accept our mistakes. That's a good practice, I feel.
Right. So tell me something. Tell me about these ladies again that are out there thinking construction. And it is stressful, right? Is it stressful or not?
No, if you enjoy it, it's not stressful. Stress is everywhere in everything. So not just construction.
That's true. That is true. So what can they do to prepare themselves to be successful just like you and enjoy what you're doing? What do they need?
They should be confident in what they are doing. And if we, the successful women, we talk to them and encourage them, that's it. They need encouragement. Every woman needs encouragement. And she can succeed.
So are you saying look for someone that can encourage you?
Yes. So if maybe we can call for a group of young kids, like women, ladies, small kids, and talk to them and walk through the construction industry, how it works, train them, not even try to manipulate them, just walk through them. It would be helpful for them, and they might consider it.
Do you think we need more women in this industry?
We do need. Now the culture is changing. We have you, we have Patricia. Yes. But we do need more women because women are calm and they have a different perspective than men. And we should respect that.
So you think all women are calm?
Not all. Some.
You haven't seen some women that are not calm? Because I know you have. In some of your projects?
Yes.
You don't have seen women that are volatile in your projects?
I have seen both of them. I am calm. I become volatile very rarely.
Volatile. I love the way she says. So, but when you see a woman that it's all over the place and what you call volatile, that some people call choleric, and it's more about the personality, not the gender, whether a woman or a man. What do you think?
They should be everywhere, but if they have some logic, they should be there. If they are just talking because they are good at talking, they shouldn't.
Have you find that?
Yeah, there are. I have seen that there are these women, not women, everyone who can talk nicely, but they don't do work. They just talk.
They just talk.
So that's not good in construction industry.
Yeah.
We need the work, not talking. The building is not going to be constructed on words.
That should be left for the marketing. So tell me something. We want to attract more women in construction. How do we do that? What do we?
So we approach colleges, and everyone is studying now. I think more girls are studying than boys, the population. So let's go to these colleges, create some small trainings, some small seminars, and talk to them, and ask their views, what they want to do in their life. Are they fascinated by buildings or anything, they can be related to construction.
Why are you passionate about construction? What is it that makes you passionate and enjoy? What in construction makes it?
So when I was little, I used to be so fascinated seeing all the beautiful buildings, beautiful aesthetically designed buildings on TV. And I used to think that I want to do this. I want to build these buildings. So, and I love drawing and sketching. So, I started designing, and then I thought of a career that I might do something in design. So, I did architecture, and I did designing, and I did all the residential projects. And at a point, I thought, oh my god, I'm just doing blocks, and I need to see how it's working. So, I shifted from architecture to construction. They both are sisters.
Yes.
They both are
They're
sisters.
family.
They're family. So in construction, they both are related, from designing to seeing how it grows. I just love it.
So would you go back to being an architect only?
Not only, both of them. I want to do both of them, just design and see. I design a building, any structure, and I want to see that how my team or myself, it's building, the structure is getting built, what I design. So that would be.
So what kind of building would you love to design?
I love hospitality. I love hotels and resorts.
What do you like about them?
The structures, I love the aesthetics in hospitality. There is so many details about the MEPs. I would love to.
So you really want to learn about HVAC, right? Air conditioning.
Yes, I spoke to Emilio the other day. I want to learn about HVAC system. I hardly know about it, how it works.
Who's Emilio?
Oh, Emilio is Patricia's husband.
So I think that's great that you want to do that, and we can create a space for that. We can talk offline later about how can you get there faster.
And plus, we have the interiors which goes along with the hospitality.
Yes.
And I have done designing, so the interior comes as a part of it.
Now, when you're in these projects, and tell me what's the biggest challenge you have found in construction so far? The biggest challenge that kept you up at night and you didn't know how you were going to solve it, but it was making you upset, or it was out of control.
Okay, so I'll tell you a funny story. When I started doing this, we are doing these roofing projects, or we have roofing in each of our projects. In architecture, so one challenge that I faced a lot is the terminology between architecture and construction, and from India it is somewhat different than here. So that was one challenge for me. And the work culture is quite different here and back in my country.
Really?
Yes. So that is one.
What's different?
I told you, then there are not many women in construction. They don't go on site much. I used to go just for supervision, or maybe monthly once, not twice. And there is no different departments in one particular office. We did not have marketing. We did not have accounting, finance, estimating, nothing. Just designing, we are doing designing. Or just a little bit of quantity taking, estimation. But not all the departments. That is different. Yeah. Those are different things comparing both the countries.
So the biggest challenge you've had is been the terminology. Anything else?
Terminologies and on-site. I told you about being in Florida. I don't understand Spanish. That's another challenge. And
that would be a challenge for many people.
That is a challenge. And sometimes talking to these subcontractors, if I was in my country, I know in my language, I would convince them. You need to do this. I wanted to get it done. Here, I think I might lack that because I don't understand.
Oh, because what about in English? Can you influence them in English?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I do it.
Awesome.
And some challenges are, I love going on sites. I don't mind going on roof. I do go. So that's not a challenge for me. I love that challenge, even if it's a challenge.
Awesome. So in India, when you're there, you're saying there's not a lot of women in construction. Here, do you think there's anything that has prevented you, being a woman has prevented you from getting what you want to do? Or do you think that has been a challenge because you're a woman?
No, not at all.
Not at all, right?
No. Not even in my house, in my family. They were like, do what you love. Do what you want to do. So they supported me in everything.
So you said you want to be a project manager and you want to have more experience in mechanical, right?
I don't want more experience. I want to learn mechanical and those other trades which I don't know the details. The other thing that I'm really interested is in BIM. I learned BIM and it's really a very powerful tool in this age. and that will help our company grow a lot. The big companies, they use it.
So let me ask you, what prevents you from being a leader in your company to make this happen? Who do you need to become? What do you need to do in order to say to the owner of this company, hey, you know what? I think we need to do this in 1 or 2 years, and this is how I think it should be done. And I want to lead this process. What prevents you from doing that?
Nothing is preventing. I think I want to excel in what I'm doing right now. Once I reach my excellence in, I would say 6 months, that's my expectation. After 6 months, I'm ready to go into the next step.
So excellence means what?
So there are a few things so now, let's say punch out, I haven't done it. I don't know what that is. So if rest of the part, now we are almost in the closing out of project. Once those are done, I'm ready to be in the next step. So I want to learn from starting of the project till the end. So now we are at the end. If I know the end, I can do the next entire thing alone.
Now you have a vision of what the whole thing is about, right? So challenges are inevitable, right?
They are inevitable. We should accept it and face it one by one. That's what I do. Or people take it together and mess it up sometimes.
What do you mean?
If we have a lot of challenges, So I tackle one problem at a time. One day, one problem. Not 5 problems in one day. What if I don't solve it? I create more problems out of it.
So what's the biggest problem you have solved?
In construction.
In your project that you're working on?
The roofing was a big mess. It was not even getting approved. We used to sit on it. Now I can review the roofing submittals like this in 1 hour.
So the challenge made you better?
Yes. All the things I learned in the last 1 year is I did not even know what that is. Back in my country, we did not have submittals. I don't know what submittal was. Now I can review it very efficiently. And it gets approved. And make sure it is approved.
If you want to be in design here in the US, are you licensed to do design?
I am not, but I am studying for it.
That's very good.
Studying for being a registered architect. And I am looking for 4D and 5D scheduling so that we can implement that in our company. I know I'm doing just the scheduling part. I have started, I have put 4D aspect to it, the money part. Now we need to put the elevation.
Awesome. Well, preparation, I think you and I were talking a while ago that luck is not, there's not really luck. It's preparation meets opportunity. And I don't know if you know, but we won 2 design build contracts one is a $75 million design build contract and another one is a $50 million. So if you have that license, it's going to create a lot of opportunities. So I applaud you for that, for being ahead of the game. What advices do you give women that are trying to come here? They're studying, they already got some momentum, they have already gotten their first job. What advice do you give them? Because I see that you're always trying to learn something new so that you can get to the next level and next level. And you want to master things. So what advices do you give them?
I would say, so if you are in construction, studying construction, get into the field, just look at the building, how it's building, how the people are working on it. Even if you don't work on it, just see, you will learn, I would say. And once you graduate, grab the first opportunity you get it, because even a small company, you're going to learn. And in a small company, you learn more because you have more responsibilities. That's the best thing.
Where do you want to go from here in the next 5 years? I know you've said project manager, you want to be from the design to the construction, you want to see the whole process. Where do you see you?
Me as a project executive, not just project company executive. I would love to have a lot of project manager under me.
Why not, right? Yeah. Can you be a good manager?
I can be a manager.
Why is that?
I would love people to work under me. I can encourage them, I would teach them, not be a boss, but work with them. That's a good part to be a leader. That's really important for being a leader, to not just lead, but work with the team equivalently.
Are you good at training?
Training people? Yes, I love it.
Why?
Because if I know something, I want other people to know it. And I would tell them very calmly, if you don't understand them, you can ask me 100 times. I'm there. I do it here also.
I know you do. Everybody
Even
comes to you.
Even if they don't know me, as I would say, just come to me. I would help you.
You're very known to somebody has a problem with a schedule and they go to
anything,
you.
not the schedule. The other day I was working with the project manager in Puerto Rico, and he did not know how to use Viewpoint. I was like, I have learned it. I can help you. I will help you.
That's awesome. What do you think is the difference between the feminine energy, and I don't want to say men or women, the feminine energy and the male energy? What do you think is the difference, the differentiator in construction?
Well, I really don't want to compare both of them because they both are different. They have both different perspectives, and we should respect them. The both,
correct,
men and women.
Right.
And
we're not talking about men or women. We're talking about energy. We're talking about the way maybe female energy. And listen, female or male energy, masculine energy, doesn't belong to a gender.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a man that we all have both.
Yeah.
Believe me, you haven't seen me in my masculine energy. I've done that most of my life. You haven't seen that part of me. The volatile, you haven't seen that. But we also have, the female energy, that the one that is nurturing, the one that takes care of the children, the ones that love.
I got it.
But then you also have the masculine energy that drives. I was a single mom. I've raised my 3 kids for a long time, and I worked, and believe me, it was the masculine energy that was there, not because I had to create,
right? So,
and get things done and drive. So in the construction, that feminine energy that nurtures, that loves, that that can smile. Not saying that we're not talking about men or women. What difference does it make in the industry if you think there's a difference?
So a project is like a baby. So we should treat it in such a way that it is growing. And if something is not happening, we should have that masculine energy and push it. You need to do it. Go ahead. That's the thing.
I think you're right. So you see, you can if you know how to use both, it's amazing. And a lot of times we think that we're only driving one, that it's only the masculine energy. And I don't think the best outcomes are when you can use both, depending on the situation,
yes.
Right? And the outcome that you have. Yes. So how do you use your feminine energy in construction?
In construction, all the projects are equal, and I work very hard on them. And if there is some problem coming from the owner side and I need to push it, then I try my best and try to do it, talk to them, get it done.
So you're more driving it?
Yeah, that will be the driving part. If not, I will do calmly, finish the work, and then if I need a push, then I know.
So when you go home and you are in a project and you are in a meeting and it's heated, and maybe some people yell at the other person. Do you go home and you do the same thing with your husband?
Yell at him? No.
No, right?
I used to do. I stopped.
That wasn't working, right?
That wasn't working. The other day I switched on my TV and I started dancing, and that calmed me down.
Awesome. You brought your feminine energy up. That's awesome.
He danced with me, so that was good.
You initiated something great. I love it. So remember the coronavirus when it started?
Mm-hmm.
What was in your mind when they said everyone has to be working from, there's a coronavirus and there's a ton of people dying, and that this is a little over a year ago?
That was a year ago. So that was the time when I was almost in the time of graduating. It was in March 2020, and I had written two papers, and I had a presentation in CRC in Arizona, and that was the peak time when the COVID was growing. And my professor, she told me that I cannot go because I have a 1-year-old kid. So, are you interested in presenting my paper too? I said, yeah, why not? So I went and I presented 3 papers, and that was the opportunity I took, and that helped me to connect with different background people, not just construction. There were people from around entire world.
Really?
Yeah, construction. They were talking about sustainability. They were talking about medical, underground structures. That was so amazing. And I did my thesis through Zoom, and I had good grades. And then I was worried about, oh my God, because of COVID, what if I don't get a job? I have to go back to my country. And then I started looking for jobs, and I was so terrified. Oh my God, I won't even get single job because of COVID. But then I think I sent email directly to you. I sent it to Ivid. I got a call. She said, can you come for an interview today? I said, I cannot today. Maybe I can come tomorrow because I don't have a car. She said, no, it's through Zoom. I was like, okay, I'm okay with it. And everything went well. And I remember I started working, I think 2 weeks immediately after that. And I really liked it. So coronavirus did not stop me from getting into construction.
Into what you wanted, right?
Yes.
Good. So when you want something, you get it, right?
We get it, and we should try hard for it. I mean, if I would have sit back and just thought about it, thinking I won't get a job, I would never have got a job.
That's true. A lot of people just
thinking negative. It doesn't help.
What helps?
Positivity and working towards it. Working towards what you want to do, not just sitting. Luck is not going to do it. Luck it's fancy, but it's not going to help. And we should have internal energy, saying that it will.
Internal energy. What do you mean by that?
It comes from within, that something good is going to happen, and to come into reality, we should work on it. We get a positive energy to work.
You're saying that. Would you say that you're someone that has internal drive to succeed?
Yes, I have. Sometimes I feel so low that I don't work, and then all of a sudden, I think I cannot do this. This is not going to help me. I should get back to what I was doing and grow on it.
So you kick yourself in the butt and you make it happen.
Yes. I cry out. I don't mind saying it. I cry, but it goes.
We all cry. And do you feel better when you cry?
I think, yeah.
Have you been in a project or in a situation in your life somebody has treated you unfairly and that you just want to cry because it's not fair? Or
yeah, it had happened with sometimes.
Any tears come to you?
I do cry.
In front of others?
Yeah, because if someone shouts at me, I might cry. And for no reason, if they shout for no reason, I cry, then I talk to them that it's not fair. I'm not doing anything wrong. And it's not even correct to talk to anyone like that. Absolutely. So mean.
Absolutely. So you stand out when somebody doesn't treat you the way you think. You say something.
I say something. I get so angry. I cry, and I say all the emotions coming together.
That's all. That's good. So after you get your job, we're still in the coronavirus. And you have to work. You're in the projects. Did anybody get infected? Was anybody afraid of getting infected by the coronavirus? How was that like? Did you have to work with a mask? Did you have to do something? What was that like? Can you remember?
So yeah, when I joined, for initial 2-3 months I was working from home. I used to go on site with mask and all the precautions, but at home I was alone because my husband, he used to go at his office. He had his own office, so nothing problem. But when I came back, we used to wear masks, and on site when we used to go, there's a lot of precaution taken care of. There I mean, I did 2-3 times testing for COVID, but that's fine. We shouldn't stop because of that. Anyone can get infected even if we take so many precautions. I saw so many cases that they're taking so precautions and they are getting infected, they are hospitalized. And I was roaming around, but with precautions.
Yeah,
traveled.
I also know people, we know people together that they were so afraid of getting sick and they got sick.
I mean, I think maybe I got COVID. I don't even know. Maybe. Because I traveled on weekends. I love traveling. So on weekend we try to go somewhere.
And you did. So COVID didn't stop you for anything?
No. I mean, it is stopping me to meet my family, but it did not stop work or the life.
Enjoy life, right? Awesome. Is there anything that you want to ask me?
So, what drove you into construction?
What drove me into construction? Wow, that was a quick question. You've been thinking about it?
No, I just thought about it.
My father was an engineer. And I guess I grew around construction. My father was an engineer. He was a developer in Dominican Republic. And I basically decided I had the option to be a doctor or an attorney or an engineer.
I think that's the options we think about.
We always have. And an architect too, but in a traditional place like Dominican Republic, probably the same thing in India. You look at traditional professions, right? There was no digital marketing or none of that stuff. Now, I one day I said, I'm going to be an engineer. So I went to my father and I said to him, I'm going to be an engineer. And he said, no, that's not for women. So he didn't want me to be an engineer. He didn't want me to be in construction. He didn't want me to be an engineer. And his philosophy was that it was very hard, very tough for a woman. Because, and in a way, well, I didn't listen to him. And
you convinced him?
I just didn't listen to him. I just registered. He didn't time myself. I just went to the university and registered. Mm-hmm. I probably had a personality similar than him. So, yeah, and I was the first one. We're 4. Mm-hmm. He wanted one of the guys. I have 3 brothers to be the engineer. Mm-hmm. And then my second brother didn't want to go. He didn't want to do it. So he became an economist. So it was for a time frame because I did it anyways. And in the first semester, I became the assistant to the professor. Okay. So I got good grades, really good grades, and they selected me. And so when he learned that, he was proud. And then in my first semester, I had straight A's. So I think after that, he didn't say anything. He did not allow me to do it. Does that make sense? And then the problem is that halfway into my career, he died. So it's not that I was able to participate with him my idea was that he was going to teach me. You know that when you study engineering and you study architecture, you don't know construction. You don't know.
It's totally different than the real world in academics.
Exactly. And it's a different profession. Construction management is a different profession, but even if you study that, the practical application of the business in the business world is you don't learn it at school either. It's a process. In our industry, a lot of the things you learn at the job,
in the job site,
you don't learn it in the university. One of the things I would like to do is change that. I would like to show people, train people on how you can do it before they get to the job site. And it could be done.
That could be done along with as a part of curriculum. They should incorporate that.
Right. And so that's how I got into construction. And I have to tell you, I've never looked back. Never.
What if you did not get into construction? Did you thought of any other profession?
I've never had that thought.
No, that's amazing.
No, I've never. And it has been challenging, but I've never. I believe I connect with myself. At a very early age, I've always connected with me. Mm-hmm. And when I decided, I looked internally, I was able to make the decision from my heart. And I think this is how I've been right in my decision. Because I've always been in this industry, and in this industry has taught me so much. People think it's only construction, and people think it's, you're laying blocks. Like somebody would tell me, "You're in construction? Really? Oh my gosh." And I'm like, "Yeah. And do you lay blocks?" And I'm like, "No, look at my hands." Look at my, I don't. I don't. There's more to construction than laying blocks. There's nothing wrong with it. Like my husband started in the industry as a laborer. And I believe this industry is very rewarding. I think this industry gives you an opportunity to build, you build people in the process. The satisfaction of creation, right? Of creating. And we create. We come to this world to create. And, you meet beautiful people, amazing people too.
Yeah, we meet a lot of different people, different personalities. It's fascinating.
It is.
It's amazing.
Well, thank you so much for participating in this podcast. I hope we can inspire other women to come into this industry, and even just people in general, to come into the construction industry. Would you say construction allows you to have a good financial outcome in your life, create financial wealth? Would you say that this is a good industry for that?
This is a good industry for that. I mean, we can make a lot of money out of it. As we grow this, it never stops. We don't have a limit. So we can reach, we don't have any peak. It's just growing. And so I would encourage a lot of women, men to be a part of this industry and do what you love, and you will succeed. And that's powerful.
That is powerful.
That's powerful.
That is powerful.
And being in construction industry, I think.
Thank you for watching Thriving in Construction, the podcast with Patricia Bonilla. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to help support the podcast, please share it with others and leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you have any suggestions or any related topics you would like us to tackle in our future episodes, feel free to comment down below. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week here in Thriving in Construction, the podcast.